I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. Margie. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Ansorgi?
Here.
Commissioner Rushton?
Present.
Chairman Bonnick?
Here.
Commissioner Wessel?
Here.
Commissioner Sudislittle?
Here.
Commissioner Rettenbach?
Here.
Commissioner Lautner? Present.
Thank you. So that then brings us to the purpose of this public hearing, and that would be for the governance options for the Cherry Capital Airport. That we must have Mr. Klein here, and we will give just a brief description of what this is all about.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Kevin Klein, Airport Director. On behalf of the Northwestern Regional Airport Commission, I'd like to thank everyone for coming to the public input session. On behalf of our chairman, Doug DeYoung, Doug apologizes for not being able to come back tonight. And through his normal everyday job, he's in the city of Cadillac tonight presenting a check to the city of Cadillac on behalf of consumers. So he apologizes for not being here, and again, thank you for allowing for the public input session. The Airport Governance Committee was formed on March 19th, 2019. The governance review stemmed from taking a look at the strategic plan for the airport, where the governance model was identified as needing to be addressed. The airport's government advisory committee was made up of representatives from Grand Traverse County and Leelanau County, the airport's owners, and the NRAC, the airport operator. The task of the committee was to review the current commission model and investigate alternative governance models available within the state of Michigan. 4 options were identified. The first option was to do absolutely nothing with the agreement. The second option was to modify the agreement. Third option looked at a regional airport authority. And the fourth option looked at establishing new legislation to create a governance model. After review and a few meetings, it was come quickly to the current model no longer fit the needs due to some inconsistencies with the documents and meeting federal grant assurances and additional issues. Modified commission was reviewed, but it didn't accommodate all the needed governance changes. The Regional Airport Authority and the transition to an independent regional under Michigan law, Act 95 of 2015, was also reviewed. And that model too met a lot of the legislative requirements and became another model that could fit the governance model for Cherry Capital Airport. The final, creating new legislation, was reviewed. However, because Act 95 was recently established, new legislation, Lansing didn't really have an interest in creating new legislation since one was just created. So we focused then on the 2 primary options, the modified commission and the regional airport authority. The governance commission found that there was a number of benefits with the regional airport authority model for the operation of TVC that the current governance model did not provide. Promotion of the airport as a regional asset and a significant economic driver. Enhanced protections against financial and operational liabilities for both counties. Provides for stronger accountability and transparency to stakeholders and allows for community input. Improved zoning control. Regional board member requirements to reflect the regional impact of the airport, criteria, qualifications, appointments, and removal. Enhanced business focus and efficiencies for airport operations, supporting a more nimble business and operating environment. Clear and new modernized legislation, and conforms with the industry standards and best practices. On November 19th, the Northwestern Regional Airport Commission voted to recommend a transition to a regional airport authority under the Michigan Aeronautics Code, Act 95. The unanimous recommendation was submitted to both counties for consideration of supporting and improving a transition to a regional airport authority. As owners of the airport, Grand Traverse and Leelanau must approve a transition to a new governance model. Today, we are seeking public input on the airport's governance model and are here to answer any questions the public may have. We have had several public input sessions, 3 in Grand Traverse County. This will be the 2nd in Leelanau County. Also, we had at the airport back in September, 1 at the Airport Commission, and then also a study session in November, which represents a significant commitment to the public in the terms of time, resources, and costs for the purposes of disseminating the information and practicing transparency and soliciting good stakeholder input. At this time, I would love to present the boards, or
Right. Well, I just think we'd open up to the public now for comments and, you know, any input that they would have about the airport. It is open for public comment. Is there any comment about the airport or the airport authority at this time? Please come forward.
Good evening. Steve Mikowski, Lake Leelanau, Michigan. I don't know too much about this airport business. I browsed through the documents on the internet, I guess about 15 pages. But I have some observations I'd like to make. From my perspective, this is all my perspective, the establishment of an authority makes the airport facility and its management unaccountable directly to the electors and the people through their elected representatives. One thing that's bothered me, we've been fairly successful with this airport, but all of a sudden things are terribly bad. We need to change immediately. And so I look at this, perhaps this is a process by which the management of the airport can disencumber itself from the electors' direct oversight. I know you all remember the NEMCOG. NEMCOG was a regional government agency created to help counties. All of a sudden, it ran away from us. It was conducted with meetings from the 10 counties of the county of this northwest area. That has totally disappeared. The counties no longer have any input. If it is, it's all muted because they are all voted out. So we want to create another agency like that, I'm sure. That's what we want to do. Unaccountability. Airport management and operations should be responsible for and accountable for the best possible, least cost efficient air transportation. The services should be conducted in the best possible, safe manner. I have not heard of any crises or errors or deficiencies in the performance of this airport that has occurred with the present management and operations. Again, I'm unaware of anything, and I haven't noticed any documentation of such. Speculation, developing, leasing airport land does not achieve that. In other words, I believe that the way the airport is being managed with the development of the land, cutting trees and everything else, seems to be quite helter-skelter, but I believe that's because there's been a lack of information in how we go about it with the public. The Record Eagle had quite an article at the year end regarding the tree cutting foolishness, and I call it foolishness, that has gone on in the area of the airport. These unrelated activities divert scarce and necessary resources and management from what I would call safe transportation objectives. that is air travel. So I guess we can go ahead, and if we want to build an accountable kingdom or fiefdom out of this, we can do that. But there's another alternative, and I didn't hear it yet, but I think one of the best possible solutions could be to totally privatize the airport complex. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Any other public comment? So seeing none then, are there any comments from the commissioners? This is an open forum, I mean, an open public thing, so if the commissioners had any comments or anything? No? Go ahead.
You know, we have submitted questions that we're going to get some answers back. There's more information to come from the commission. So, you know, I looked at this as an opportunity for the public, not necessarily for us to get all our questions answered. So that's what I thought was going on.
Okay. Then was there anything else in Mr. Klein?
If there are any other additional questions that come forth, please submit them to Mr. Janik, whether they're from the public or from the commission, and we'll continue to answer those as we go forward.
As stated last week, the goal is to have a report back to you by February 1st, and those will be on the agenda for our February meeting. So you have some time to look at the report, and then ask questions, comment. I'm sure Mr. Klein would be more than happy to be here to respond to those questions after the report is issued. Because I think a lot of questions that you had will be answered in the report.
Mr. Chairman, I just wonder if any members of the public have would like any additional information. They did bring boards and additional information, but I'm not sure whether we've really invited them to seek that information.
Commissioner Wessel, did you have something?
I wondered if there was a written record of public comment that was made in Grand Traverse County as well as what we heard last week.
Yes, on all accounts, there is, and that will be part of that February report. There was public records, both counties with both clerks, and then when we did the sessions at the airport, we had a reporter record all that information.
Thank you.
And seeing no other public comment, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you. So we'll give the clerk 5 minutes, and then we'll go to our regular